Welcome on Texas Football. I'm Bobby Burton, your host. Got a special Saturday edition because there's been some breaking news for the Longhorns. CJ Vogel alongside here on Texas Football. CJ, today it becomes apparent that Texas hiring Johnny Nanson, a name that we first heard a couple of weeks ago as a potential replacement for linebackers coach Jeff Choate. Nanson was the defensive coordinator, play caller at Arizona, but he comes to Texas as linebackers coach. Co-defensive coordinator, first reported by Horns 24/7 earlier today. Your thoughts on this hire? Obviously, ties to the West Coast again for Steve Sarkisian as well in this pickup.
Yeah, absolutely. Strong hire, a guy that is familiar with Sarkisian, and not only Sark, but Jeff Banks as well, dating back to their time at previous stops. But Nanson, you talk about a guy that knows college football and knows how to develop at the college football level. That's what Texas is getting right here. His job at Arizona, I was actually looking up a quote just now from the Utah DC, kind of giving him praise earlier this year, saying his defensive scheme is unreal. The way he gets his guys to work in that linebacker front seven has been superb this season as well. So that's very encouraging. You talk about the jump that Utah made this season defensively, really impressive. And he's just adding to the wealth of knowledge that is currently in that Texas defensive coaching room right now. Really strong hire. And like you said, great ties out west recruiting-wise. And that's been a place Texas and Sarkisian have been no strangers to recruiting, and so it's just another guy that they can go out and use on the trail to get big time weapons, big time talent out west.
Interestingly, Nanson played at Washington State. That's where he got to know Jeff Banks, the tight ends coach, assistant head coach for the Longhorns, special teams coordinator. He is one of the conciliaries, so to speak, for Steve Sarkisian in this Texas program. He also got to know Sark while working for him at both Washington and Southern Cal at previous stops. So Nanson returning to work with Sarkisian. Nanson himself, Samoan by birth, actually moved to Long Beach, California, played at Long Beach, Jordan in high school. So to your point, Texas, not only with Chris Jackson now at Orange County down from Santa Ana Mater Dei, you also have Johnny Nanson from Long Beach, California, Steve Sarkisian from the Southern California as well. You have three coaches on the staff originally from that Southern California region. I suspect as a result of this, we will see Texas doing more and more in Southern California. Of course, Brandon Baker, one of the key recruits this year, the offensive lineman out of Mater Dei, as well as Aaron Butler, the wide receiver out of Calabasas, California. That was a late pickup that, to be fair, Chris Jackson, who knew that area and that territory, was able to domino with, even though Butler didn't make an official visit to the Longhorns. So Johnny Nanson becomes the next linebackers coach at the University of Texas. He becomes the co-defensive coordinator linebacker coach. To be clear, he was the play caller at Arizona. We believe that's going to continue to be Pete Kwiatkowski at Texas. He will manage a lot of the defensive front, though, for PK. As well as the rest of the team. Hey, some recruiting news. It's not just about team news, some portal news, even, CJ, that's been going on. Jaron Thompson and Keaton Crawford entered the portal yesterday. That's alongside Trill Carter, the defensive lineman, and Charles Wright. Charles Wright, the backup third-string quarterback, would have probably been fourth-string quarterback, but a well-liked player in the program. He's going to go see if he can't find playing time somewhere else. But you also look at Jaron Thompson and Keaton Crawford entering. I'm not so sure that they were going to get much playing time next year. Crawford clearly would have as a gunner. He's one of the best in the country, but he's considering whether actually to enter the portal. He's already entered the portal, or actually go pro and try to make it as a special teamer. Jaron Thompson just moving on after he's finished his 4 years of eligibility at the University of Texas. Trill Carter, one of those guys that Texas did want to keep. All right, that being said, there are a number of guys that we're trying to follow whether or not they're making a decision to head pro. A lot of focus has been on Adonai Mitchell, the wide receiver, but actually one that we're following right now and that you've just gotten some updated information on is Jaylan Baron, the fourth-year player out of Pflugerville. He could go pro, but you're hearing some possibilities otherwise, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when Texas added Andrew Makuba to their portal class this year, a lot of folks kind of slammed the door on a possible return of Jaylan Baron. That hasn't necessarily been the case behind the scenes. In fact, over the last couple of days, really dating back prior to the Washington game, there was a little bit of an increase in, expectation that Jaylan might return for 2024. Right now, I'm hearing it's really right around a 50-50 that he either opts for the NFL draft in April or he returns to the Texas Longhorns for next season. So that would be a big addition. It would obviously allow a lot of versatility for the Texas defensive back room. If Jaylan Baron returns, you can keep him at that nickel or star position. You can move Makuba back deep. The speed obviously remains the same. And Bobby, we've talked about it, but the intellect and the IQ of having two super experienced guys in that secondary would greatly increase the production and overall talent on the field that we've seen from the Texas defense. So it would be massive for Texas if Jaylan returns. Obviously, right now I'm hearing right around a 50-50. So could be a relative coin flip right now for Jaylan Baron to depart to the NFL or come back.
Cool. Couple things to consider here. He's already accepted an invite to the Senior Bowl. The other thing to really talk about, though, is he's had a foot injury that he has battled all year, CJ. He needs some rest time. He's not going to get that if he goes immediately to the Senior Bowl. And he's probably, if he goes to the Senior Bowl, he's probably not going to get his 40 time down in shape for the combine. And so this may be a situation where he may need to take a couple of months off and really rehabilitate and come back for another year. And that may be playing in a role. And because he didn't necessarily have the best tape this year, he's still a really good player, as all Texas fans know. But he has an opportunity to come back and put better tape up next year. And so that's maybe what's weighing on him a little bit, even though he's already been invited to the Senior Bowl.
No, absolutely. I in conversations with NFL draft guys that understand – the behind the scenes of the drafting, scouting world and stuff along the lines of that. Conversations about Jaylan Baron have, and they've been very high in regards to his intellect, obviously the football IQ, but there's been question marks about the athleticism and the measurables that we'll see at something like the NFL Combine. Will he have the straight line speed? Will he have the 5.10.5 or pro agility? Will that line up with the elite DBs that we expect to see come out of the draft in April? And like you said, I'm not sure if he played this entire season 100%, which if he didn't, that's quite remarkable because, one, he was incredibly impactful, and two, you kind of still got to see kind of the question marks about where that speed would have lacked or made up for. And so I look at Jaylan, and the biggest question mark that he had this year was the vertical game back deep, or anytime he was tested vertically. We saw it against Alabama. Obviously, Oklahoma State got him. I think Washington was 8 of 10 or 9 of 11 when targeting him as well. So that's part of the improvement. And whereas that speed would have made, I would say, a whole lot of a difference for Jaylan this year. Coming back would help that draft stock, which I was hearing right around that 4th or 5th round range in 2024, should he return.
Yeah, here's an interesting piece. We also need to say that we're hearing that Ryan Watts is not returning. Now, he has not entered his name officially into the portal yet, I don't believe, at least as we're taping this early Saturday afternoon. We believe we've been told Mo Blackwell is returning to Texas. Some people had said he may be transferring. We've heard he is returning. I mentioned Ryan Watts moving on because you could have a situation where Jaylan Baron gets cross-trained some at safety this year. And if you had Makuba, Baron, and Derek Williams, along with Michael Taff at safety, or one of Baron or Makuba take the star role, that nickel position, you're looking at a different caliber secondary, in my opinion, than the one the Longhorns put on the field this year. An improvement, actually, in my opinion. And so that could be really, really big for the Longhorns. All right, CJ, I want to go quickly to recruiting because a couple of things have happened over the last 24, 48 hours. We reported on Friday that Texas was hoping to host 2 official visitors. One of them actually has moved it up till today. That is Jamari Caldwell, the defensive lineman out of Houston, has been visiting Oregon, we believe. He's now expected to come in to Texas late Saturday, stay through Monday. He's 6'1", 6'2", 315 pounds, according to the University of Houston official website. With the loss of Trill Carter, this would be a big pickup for Texas and someone that they absolutely need as they go into the SEC.
Yeah, it absolutely would. And we saw it firsthand. Like we talked about Matthew Golden and the production he had against Texas this year. Jamari Caldwell is absolutely in that same boat. 2 sacks, a couple tackles for loss added as well. He was seemingly in the backfield whenever he wanted to be against that Texas interior, and he made things very difficult. Texas only had success running the football late in the game when he was off the field. And so that when you talk about the talent and production Texas is losing on the interior of the defensive line, it makes all the sense in the world to go all in for Jamari Caldwell, a guy that you're familiar with, you've game planned against, you know the strengths, you know the weaknesses, and you can obviously plug in into that interior defensive line in 2024 and hopefully not skip a beat. Now, that's a tall task, but this is a type of guy that you can count on becoming an NFL caliber guy after this season, and one that would certainly put up numbers under Bo Davis in a Texas Longhorn uniform in 2024.
The other one I want to mention that's coming in tomorrow, and it's just a day visit, is CJ Daniels, wide receiver out of Liberty. CJ Daniels visited Auburn on Friday. He's at Florida as we speak, expected to be just a day visit, come in the morning on Sunday for Texas, leave Sunday night. But he had 55 catches a year ago for Liberty. Good all-around player, in my opinion. And Longhorns trying to grab him right now. You mentioned it looks like Auburn and Florida are the top 2, but I don't think they've inputted the Texas interest here. He's visiting Texas apparently tomorrow. We'll see if he actually makes that visit. But he's originally from the Atlanta area, Lilburn Parkview High School. Texas is really, really interested here. It was even more interesting because at one point it looked like the Liberty quarterback, Caden Slater, who's originally from Cedar Hill, Texas, was going to transfer to Auburn. But late yesterday, Slater pulled his name from the portal and is returning to Liberty. So now, Auburn is the closest place to Lilburn Parkview. It's about a 60, 75-minute drive, I think. That means that he could end up going a bunch of different places. Texas in firm pursuit at this point. Other possibilities remain as a wide receiver in the transfer portal as well, but that seems to be the first one that they're bringing in. They like his size, speed combo, 6'2", 200 pounds. I just got a text, by the way, from a person that has coached with Johnny Nanson. Outstanding. The quote is, outstanding coach and really good guy. Outstanding coach and really good guy. CJ, that's going to do it for a quick Saturday update. I'm Bobby Burton for CJ Vogel. This has been On Texas Football. Hook 'em.